The first ever budget for India was presented in 1860 by Scottish economist and British parliamentarian James Wilson. As expected, it was printed in English and presented in English. Of course, therefore it was inaccessible to the local Indian population, as many Indians were not able to understand English. After getting independence on 15th of August 1947, the first Union Budget of independent India was presented on November 26, 1947. The Finance Minister was Mr. R.K. Shanmugam Chetty. This was the budget for 7 months, and therefore Mr. Chetty termed it as interim budget. So this interim budget term was coined by him, and we have been using this term even today in the years of election when the budget for full year is not presented. A significant milestone was achieved in the year 1955 when the budget was printed in both the languages, English as well as Hindi. The then Finance Minister, Mr. C.D. Deshmukh, insisted that the budget should be printed in Hindi also. His aim was to make the budget more accessible and also inclusive for the citizens of India. During COVID-19 pandemic, one more change took place, and that is the budget transitioned to a paperless format. The budget was presented in the form of electronic media, and now the finance ministers thereafter have been reading the budget in the parliament from electronic device, and members of the parliament also get the copies of the budget in the digital form. Now the budget is presented in the parliament at 11 AM. But that was not so before 1999. Till then, the budget was presented in the evening at 5 o'clock in the parliament. And the reason was that the British rulers should be able to present the budget in UK and in India at the same time. So this was for the alignment of time. As we know, British are behind us by 5.5 hours. Hence, budget presented in the Indian Parliament at 5 o'clock will mean the budget presented in British Parliament at 11:30 AM. And this tradition continued for more than 50 years after independence. So after 1999, the budgets are presented at 11 AM. The second change that took place is regarding the day of presentation or the date of presentation. Till 2017, the budgets were presented on the last day of February. But in 2017, this date of presenting the budget is preponed now to 1st of February. The reason was that the budget which is announced on the last day of February was required to be discussed in the budget session of the Parliament. Changes, if required, were required to be made, and then the budget and the bills were passed. So this process normally takes about a month's time. So that comes March end, and the budget is to be implemented from 1st of April. So the government machinery was not getting sufficient time to make the preparation for implementation of the budget. Now, by preponing the budget from last day of February to first day of February, well, one more month is made available to the government machinery for preparation of the budget so that proper implementation can start from 1st of April. Until 2017, there were two types of budgets presented in the Parliament. One was railway budget and the other was union budget. Railway budget was separately presented before the union budget was presented in the Parliament. But since 2017, this practice is discontinued and the railway budget is merged with the union budget. By doing so, three things are achieved. First thing is, it provides a comprehensive view of the central government's finances, because this is one budget and a comprehensive view can be taken from this one budget only. Secondly, railway is one way of transport, but there are highways and also waterways. So if we combine railway budget with the union budget, then it will improve the transport planning across highways, railways and waterways. And the third aim was to give the Finance Ministry more flexibility in allocating resources during the mid-year review. If the budgets are separate, this flexibility is lost. The longest budget is a matter of curiosity. The longest budget by word count was delivered by Manmohan Singh in 1991, and his budget speech had 18,650 words. But if we consider the long speech by time, then Nirmala Sitharaman holds the record, because her speech was lasting 2 hours and 40 minutes in 2020 and still 2 pages were left unread. The shortest budget was presented by the Finance Minister H.M. Patel in 1977. It was an interim budget and it was the shortest on record, and it had just 800 words. Morarji Desai holds the record for presenting the highest number of budgets. He presented 10 budgets in all. The second number in presenting maximum budgets is that of Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, who presented 9 budgets, and Mr. Pranav Mukherjee presented 8 budgets. The present Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will be presenting her 7th budget in 2024. Few prime ministers presented budgets as finance ministers, and their names are Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, Morarji Desai, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi and Manmohan Singh. The budgets have many provisions and every budget has peculiar features or characteristics, and every budget has some impact. Considering the features and the impact, the budgets have gained some popular names, like the budget of 1973-74 presented by Mr. Yashwantrao Chavan got the name as Black Budget because this budget had a very big fiscal deficit. The budget of 1986 presented by VP Singh is termed as the carrot and stick budget because this budget has taken the steps to demolish the license Raj on one hand, and on the other hand it launched a drive against smugglers, black marketers as well as tax evaders. Another budget which is presented in 1991 by Manmohan Singh is called as the epochal budget because it started the era of liberalization in full swing. P. Chidambaram gets the credit of presenting the dream budget. His budget of 1998 is called as dream budget because he proposed so many tax cuts in Income Tax Act as well as custom duties. Similarly, he announced voluntary disclosure of income scheme, and hence taxpayers were very happy and they started calling this as dream budget. The budget presented by Yashwant Sinha in 2002-03 is named as rollback budget because whatever proposals he made in his original budget speech were withdrawn by him, were required to be withdrawn by him after the discussions in the parliament, and hence his budget is called as the rollback budget.